they wouldn't be a problem for us today, and they wouldn't have been so difficult to solve. One more thing about design thinking for social issues. Many of you talked about breaking stereotypes, having empathy, understanding others. And when we have social issues, we're working with people. And people act very differently from robots. So we have to understand them more deeply and take that time to think about what are they feeling, what are their motivations, how do we consider people into our solutions. So that's a little bit about why design thinking. Now, let's go to the process that some of you talked about. So we saw a few models. Here is the 7 steps model. And there are other, if you type design thinking online, there are 7-step models. There's also the D School uses a 5-step model. Empathy and defining, ideating, prototyping, testing, and they have little boxes like this. But the thing that we miss from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is maybe when you get to step 5, you feel like you're finished, but somehow your problem is still not solved. So I want to share with you one more model. It's a good game show. Yeah, it is a good game show. So for this one, it tries to combine the different steps that we've all talked about, but in a way that I think is more real life. So sometimes you can start with empathy, but sometimes maybe you start with ideas. What happens if you started with ideas? Should you keep making ideas, or should you stop and try to gain empathy, or should you start testing? If you start in the middle of the 5-step process, where should you go next? So we want you to think about it, instead of trying to follow steps, try to think about what's your real goal? What are you trying to solve? Remember that as your main point, not what tool. Design thinking is a tool. Design thinking, think of it as a hammer. So we're giving you a hammer during the Excel program. Don't go around everywhere looking for nails. Are you a nail? Can I hammer you? I love design thinking. Is this a nail? So maybe you're creating more holes and more problems. So instead of getting so excited about using design thinking, keep this as a tool in your pocket. Look around. Is there a problem here? What's this problem? Oh, is there a nail? Can I hammer it? So remember, your goal should always be at the center, no matter what framework you use. Whether it's design thinking, whether you're using engineering, business methods, keep your goal at the center. But design thinking is useful. So what should you do? We talked about empathy on Thursday with the blindfolds. That process is to seek understanding. So we have one part of this circle is that understanding. When you understand more, you can clarify your goal. What happened next after we did the blindfold activity? What happened in the afternoon? What was the first? We made many ideas in the afternoon. And so maybe we want to solve this problem. So our next step is to imagine more possibilities. Imagine ways to solve this problem. And when you have more ideas, you can also clarify your goal. So you're back to your goal, and what else can you do? Maybe at this point you realize, oh, I need more understanding. So you can go back to your goal and say, oh, okay, maybe I need to ask my users some more questions. And then you can come back to your ideas. Or if you feel ready, maybe you want to prototype it like we did. So here is making something tangible from your idea in your head to something that you can show to someone else and get their feedback. Many of you did really interesting prototypes Thursday. You had different costumes, you had different shoes that talked to people, different models. So that was making it a little bit more real for someone to give you their feedback. And when you have feedback, you can come back to your goal. But all of this, you cannot do it by yourself. Social problems are huge. They're not caused by one person, and I don't think they can be solved by one person. So in this process, like this week, you're going to also build your team. This is going to be understanding each other. You set team expectations for how to work well with each other, respecting each other, having fun. And your team members will also help you clarify your goal. And they will bring knowledge and resources to help you work towards your goal. In the last part, we may make a beautiful prototype, and we may think it will totally work. But how do we make sure this goal is reached? That's when we need to plan for action. So these are some of the steps that you can take, and you can keep circling. Planning for action. You launched your startup. You made some action. That's just the beginning. What's next? Maybe you realized, I need some more understanding about my customers or my users. Or I need some new ideas. I need a bigger team, a stronger team. I need to make more plans. So you can keep circling through these when you feel like it's necessary. But always remember, what's at the center?
Oh.
Your goal. And your goal might change. And that's okay. But all of these should get you to clarify the middle, your destination, where you want to go. So this picture, thank you, Andrea, for live drawing for us. It is also in your handbook. So if you turn to the middle of your handbook, it will say leadership, and the next page is also a design thinking picture to keep with you.